Welcome to the Patriot Punkcast. Sorry about that, guys. I had my intro playing in the background. Tonight, we are going to have probably a bit of an interesting conversation because the Covenant Shooters Manifesto still has not been released, and it's making a lot of people in the state of Tennessee quite uncomfortable. Now, some of the rules that they've cited, Rule 16, we're going to discuss that in depth tonight. And we're also going to take a look at this last ditch effort to claim copyright laws should have some implication on the release of this. It's an excuse that I'm not buying, and I don't think many Tennesseans are buying it either. And I think we're just looking at some political posturing from the judicial branch as they dig into something. We're also going to discuss Brother Jones and the petition that may not be sufficient to land him on the August ballot. As of right now, there are still, I think, 10 signatures that they are investigating to see if they come from people in his district, and there's a chance he will not be on the Democrat primary. Will that have an effect? Well, we'll discuss that. And also, James O'Keefe. Many of you know him from Project Veritas, now the founder of O'Keefe Media Group. He recently released a story about the Small Business Administration and some not necessarily letter of the law violations of the Hatch Act, but definitely violating the principle of the Hatch Act. And it really struck a nerve and reminded me of something that we saw just a couple of years ago here in Tennessee, and something I suspect we are going to see a lot more of as this year's election comes closer. That and a whole lot more. And joining me for tonight in this endeavor is my good friend and host of the Unframe of Mind show, Daniel Wagner.
Good morning, Mr. Matheson.
It is not morning.
I'm sorry. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. But yeah, I'm just glad to be here, ready to get started. Let's rock and roll. And I guess we have a guest that we're going to speak with today by the name of Miss Amanda from Moms for Liberty, Wilson County. Let me bring her in here, just like so. Welcome to the show, Miss Amanda.
Hi, thanks for having me. I made it.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. I think you've been on the show once before. Maybe twice during the election night too. So, you know, you're no stranger to our audience, but for those who this is their first time catching you, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're here to do.
Well, I'm a Wilson County native. I've lived here almost my whole life. Married somebody that I knew back from Mount Juliet Junior High, and former widow. We have 6 kids together total. I used to work in Wilson County schools, graduated class of 99, and then went back as a paraprofessional and then a registered behavioral technician, sometimes a substitute teacher. And I saw how checked out parents actually were and how stressed the teachers were because of the lack of support. So when I found out about all of the COVID stuff, my heart was torn both ways, but I definitely started to err on the side of parental rights once I realized there were a lot of things going on behind the scenes that parents have a right to know about. And that's when I started Moms for Liberty, the Wilson County chapter. So, yep.
Did you say 6 kids?
6 kids.
You know what's causing that, don't you?
You know how many times I hear that, actually?
See, I figured it out at 4 and I stopped. It's holding hands in public, by the way, is what causes that.
Yep.
Just so we know.
So
let's continue.
I have to ask before we get into handle some business, how does it feel saying that you graduated before the turn of the century?
Well, actually, I was class of 2000, but I hated high school so much that I went to summer school right when they started block scheduling. And so I graduated a year early, and then I blew it. I partied the whole time. So I did nothing productive after that.
Maybe you didn't blow it. Maybe you had you just had an extra year of fun that other people didn't get to experience. But I'm sure we're going to get into some of that. Maybe we can get some insight on what you didn't like about school. Maybe that can play into some of our discussions. But before we get started, I do want to handle just a little bit of business. So for those of you watching, we appreciate your patronage and thank you for tuning in for this. We know that with the elections ramping up, there's all sorts of creators you could be out there watching. We appreciate you spending your Sunday evening with us here at the Patriot Punkcast. Now, Obviously, this show is not one of those shows that's going to get millions of views, but we hope that through it, we are able to provide you a little bit of insight and help you make better decisions and effectively change your neighborhoods, your communities for the better. If you want to see some of the work that we've done here at the Patriot Punk Network, go to patriotpunknetwork.com. We've got all sorts of videos up there, news articles. You can check out all of the different smaller town scandals that we cover. And we feel that it's important that this news gets out there because most of your local newspapers have been compromised. In order to get all those fancy stories and get them out the next day and get all those clicks and views, they have to make backroom deals with some of these public officials. And that leads to a lack of transparency and a lack of accountability. And we at the Patriot Punk Network will never take money from corporate sponsors. And we rely solely on your support. So if you would like to visit patriotpunknetwork.com, click on the support tab, and you can actually become a monthly subscriber. We are working on some special deals or some special perks for being a member right now. All you get to do is get that warm, fuzzy feeling in your heart, knowing that you are contributing to the solution, not the problem. Please like this video, share it with your friends, texting it out, putting it on social media, take clips from it. We need to get the word out. We need to get 1,000 people watching this episode every week. That should be our goal. And we would appreciate your help in doing that. So I think the first thing that we should discuss, now that all the business is handled, Representative Brother Jones. Now, Daniel, do you know much about Brother Jones?
I know he's a Democrat, and I know he caused a ruckus or helped contribute to causing quite a ruckus in the House, last year or something like that. Roughly, and that's about all I know.
If you remember the Chaz version that we had here in Tennessee, do you remember it was the Ida B. Wells, I think, statue?
No, I don't recall that.
During 2020, they went to Legislative Plaza, and I believe he was one of the members that helped create their own autonomous zone, which led to the laws in Tennessee about no camping on public property, which I think that's even being challenged, maybe not in Tennessee, but federally due to the homelessness thing. But I think they maintained control of that statue for like 45 days.
Yeah, because that helped solve the homelessness issue, didn't it?
It did. Are you familiar with Brother Jones, Miss Amanda?
I've seen him walking around the General Assembly, the Cordell Hull building sometimes. He has a little bit of a entourage, it seems, that likes to follow him around and ask for his autograph ever since he's been politically martyred. But aside from that, I don't follow him too much. He seems to have a lot of people in his corner that look to be like paid agitators. I don't know. It's just a theory that I have.
Man, just my outside perspective, seeing him just in general on videos and whatnot, he seems like he might be a pretty cool guy to sit down and have a beer with outside of his political ideas. To me, that's just kind of the impression I get. I could be totally way off.
So he definitely has that Southern preacher speak.
Yeah.
And he is very articulate. It's kind of like when you listen to Greg Locke. Okay, Greg Locke might sound crazy, but holy crap, does he know how to get you excited and make you like he needs to run a sales rally for these major organizations.
Dude, first time I went to any kind of rally with Pastor Greg Locke, I'm about as atheist as you can get, and I was almost drawn in by how powerful his speech was. Like I can feel the hypnosis in it. He is good. He is real good.
And Brother Jones has that same thing. Now, if you can bring up this article for us, Daniel.
Yep.
And for those of you watching, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, we will not be live on there once we finish this first bit. So please make sure you're following us over on Rumble. You can find that link in the on my Facebook page at the most recent post, or you can search Patriot Punk Network and you will find it. We're live right now. And make sure you're sharing this out and like this video, guys. So here we have Tennessee Rep Justin Jones candidacy. Hold on.
Oh,
yeah, I'm trying to read it. Candidacy is in limbo due to the number of district signatures.
I'm glad you could see that.
So, I read through this. It's a really short article. It's one of the downsides of modern media is that they're just so in a crunch for content that they put out like 6 sentences and call it an article.
You want me to read it real quick?
Yeah,
At least some of it. So, State Representative Justin Jones is in the spotlight concerning his ability to appear on the ballot in August. In order to run, a person needs 25 signatures from voters in their district. According to the Election Commission, Representative Jones, a Nashville Democrat, submitted a total of 26 signatures. One of the signatures does not count because the individual lives in a different district. The Election Commission adds another 10 of Jones's signatures are under review. Now, that's interesting. Because as popular as I thought he was, and like Amanda was talking about his little entourage that follows him around, you'd think getting 25 signatures should be just a walk in the park, like no problem at all. But
it is, and this is what, because you're not necessarily involved in the political rules as much, and I don't know if Amanda, have you ever ran for office, Amanda?
No, and I don't ever plan to. So
you're one of the smart ones.
Well, they can get as many signatures as they want. Minimum, they have to get 25. What most people do is get like 50 or 80 or 300, or they just get an obscene amount. They get as many signatures as they can.
Yeah.
So that there's no question.
Yeah.
It sounds like Representative Jones just cut a corner. Maybe he had a petition signing day, sign it out. He got 26 and he was on to go talk to CNN or, Jill Biden or something like that. And
so essentially you're saying he kind of phoned it in because it's cool. And then ended up maybe shooting himself in the foot as a result.
Maybe, but that's what I want to get at. Do you really think it's going to shoot him in the foot? Because this is for a primary ballot. Do you think that Nashville would elect somebody else?
Yeah.
In the general election. I mean, even obviously he's going to have, if somebody else is running against him in the primary, there might be a Democrat challenger, but I don't know that there is. Most of the time, the Democrats aren't going to try to challenge their own incumbent. So even if the Republicans have submitted a challenger, when it comes to the general election, you're going to have an independent and a Republican, worst case scenario, because he can still qualify to be on the ballot, if I'm not mistaken. And that means in the November election.
Well,
so
after working with the Curtis campaign and seeing how they did him on that side, and I know the Democrats tend to be a lot more dirty and underhanded and less principled in general. I don't hold any stock on them actually like following their rules and like, here's what it says. Sorry, they'll find some workaround. They'll find some way to make it work regardless. So,
Amanda, have any of the seats for like school board in Wilson County ever not had a Republican contender that you know of in recent history? I know there's been a lot of.
Not in recent history, no.
I know that a lot of the time a party doesn't even have to follow the results of their own primary. And that is because for whatever reason, they are able to just pick someone if they want to. That was one of the things that they threatened President Trump with back in, I think it was 2000 and into 2015, beginning of 2016, when the run up to the primary, kind of like we had the Nikki Haley thing this year. Mm-hmm. During that time, they were saying, even if Trump wins the primary, we may not nominate him. We may reserve the right to nominate somebody else. And I think as much as I hate to say it, because you should put stock in the primaries if you're part of the party and you want to be part of the system, but our parties are so compromised that I don't know that it really matters, because in the end, they'll just pick somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be the case. They know all the little back doors to do what they want to do.
Try hard. Well, on that note, here's another question. Could it be a PR move? Think about it. There's already, and maybe not an intentional PR move, but definitely something that they can play off of. And hear me out. When, just like with the special session for the red flag laws, they took, and when the incident that you remember, when he got kicked off the floor,
right?
They could have just finger wagged at him, said, "You're in trouble, don't do it again," and then been done with it. But instead, they expelled him, which got national attention because we're all racist here in Tennessee, apparently.
Yeah.
And that ended up increasing their donations ridiculously, making it to where I think even like Democrats like Megan Barry have outraised Mark Green campaigning this year. And don't get me wrong, I'm not upset that the Democrats are spending money and wasting it in some races. But what kind of PR reflection is this going to give? I mean, experience. I know you have to deal with a lot of liberals every day, Amanda. Especially on the internet. Yeah, look at that look.
So much behind that look right there.
Well, but how would they react if, let's say, Wednesday morning's newspaper says Brother Jones removed from primary ballot because of procedural error? He's going to be the victim, isn't he?
He's going to be the victim. He's going to be painted once again as a political martyr of sorts. All attention is going to be positive for him moving forward. They will not paint themselves in a good light. I mean, they do need to follow the rules. If the rules were broken, they need to establish and make sure that they're following those rules. So,
and it's one of those things. So now I feel like they're in a catch-22. If they enforce the rules, just like they technically could have enforced the rules before, when they expelled him from the General Assembly.
mm-hmm.
But by doing that, all you do is help bolster it. And that's why I think, is this really an accident? Was it really an oversight? Someone that has an entire entourage following them around, that's had every move almost scripted and has all this, is all obsessed with PR. Are they really just so careless that they made an oversight like this and didn't get enough signatures? Or did they intentionally only get 26, make sure that all 25 of them were perfect, and then throw one extra in there to create this, which we're therefore participating in, and it worked?
I think you're onto something with that. That seems exactly what somebody who loves attention would do. They would do everything that they could to create these situations for themselves so that they can get more clout, I guess you could say. He's going to go viral. He's going to go national if they continue. But at the same time, you see him operating on the floor and he wastes so much time. So, like, I don't know. I can see why they are annoyed, and they're hoping that this signature rule will work and maybe they can shoo them off.
It's kind of interesting. I read down to the comments here, and it seems like the one comment that there is longer than the article itself. Just basically saying it's bad enough that you guys vote for Democrats thinking you'll accomplish the representation in the state, but voting for a guy all the other representatives voted to remove is a complete waste of your representation. But
so that gets you a different question, because I think we see this on the Republican side too. Just because they don't get along with everybody in office, I mean, Trump doesn't get along with everybody in office, but I know that most people in this election, at least in Tennessee, are going to pick him over the other guy.
Right. It's not about playing well with others, but at the same time, it does waste a lot of time. So it's just everybody's got to learn how to get along with everybody else.
I feel like we want them to waste time. Oh, hold on. We're getting
go ahead. Just keep talking. I'm sure my mouse is not working.
Sorry. We had a little dingy ding. I don't know if you guys could hear that.
My mouse, but go ahead. Keep going.
So yeah, it threw me off though. So I just don't understand. Is it considered fair? Then is it? I mean, obviously it's fair to enforce the rules. What's going on?
It's not letting me click. It just keeps digging at me.
There's a box probably brought up somewhere. Oh, you've got, look right there, right in the middle of it, Daniel. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Bad eyesight. I got it. We're good.
Donate glasses, please.
Yeah,
Patriot.
No, my glasses are fine. I'm just blind.
Oh. Looking at this though, I just don't know if this is a PR stunt, if this is really even something good that we should enforce. This is going to reflect badly on the Republican-only General Assembly, no matter what. And I almost feel like that's a brilliant chess move on his part, just to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But we were talking about the Trump issue and whether or not you need to be friends with people, and I really think that the stalemate of not getting anything done is good for us. How are we supposed to, as business owners, as people, acclimate ourselves to the rules if they are changing them every year.
Yep. Most people you talk to, they're like, yeah, I would love it if they would just get in there and just leave stuff alone. Just don't try to keep changing things. It's okay.
Mhm.
We have 44,000 pages of laws in the TCA, in Tennessee Code Annotated. It's like a 9-foot stack of books. I understand Aristotle's quote that, ignorance of the law is no excuse, not that every man shall know the law, but 'tis an excuse every man shall plea.
Mhm.
But at a certain point, it's unreasonable to expect someone to know 43,000 pages of them.
Yeah, back then they had like all of their laws on like one tablet, and there was like 10 of them, right?
Yeah, I think there's 2.
That's pretty straightforward. Hey,
Yeah.
it's that magical time. You know what magical time that is?
What?
The time in which we shut down YouTube and everything but
Hey, if
Rumble.
you guys Rumble, we will be on Rumble and X. So please, if you guys are on YouTube or Facebook, we appreciate you joining us. But we're about to talk about the manifesto, and the conversation is probably going to definitely get outside of the Facebook algorithms. So, or the permissibility of it. So, join us over on Rumble, and we'll see you there.
We'll see you shortly. Continue.
All right. So the next thing, and I think we just go ahead